Live from Lincoln and broadcasting across the state of Nebraska, it's the Average Joe Sports Show. This is the place for Husker sports with the biggest names, the best interviews, and all the inside scoops.
I got a front row seat with a big tub of buttered popcorn and a greasy half-live chicken leg.
Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Welcome to it. Tuesday is here with the Average Joe Sports Show. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel, and you. Big thanks to all of you checking us out, joining us on YouTube, also on the Average Joe Sports Show Network, and watch and find not only on YouTube but also on Twitter, AJ Sports Radio, where you can follow and check in on the show. Also Spotify and iTunes for the podcast. Get it downloaded today and like and subscribe. Numbers to get in at 489-1240, 489-1240, 800-825-5865. We'll talk some Husker football, some baseball with Mitch Sherman of The Athletic, the Locked On Nebraska podcast. They had quite a lively interaction with some of their viewers and listeners on the championship topic. So we'll talk to Mitch a little bit. Big news that just came down a little bit ago is the forever ban has been lifted on Pete Rose when it comes to the Baseball Hall of Fame. That ban, that ineligible list, also some whiteout being used on shoeless Joe Jackson. So both longtime lightning rod members of baseball are now eligible for the Hall of Fame. So maybe Mitch weighs in on that, as big of a baseball fan as he is. In hour two, Michael Bruntz back at it with Husker 24/7 Sports, some Big Red baseball thoughts as they get geared up for Purdue, and also some Nebraska football topics we'll get into. And one of our favorites, part of the pipeline, the Jock Doc podcast you catch. Dr. Rob Zatechka going to be with us, an extended sit-down. We got Dr. Rob and able to chat with him about his level of optimism. And that's kind of been the off-season discussion point. We've talked about we've talked about where Nebraska can fit in to this new college football landscape once it extends or expands, presumably to 16. And the option and ability to be a part of the play-in conversation if you're not in the top two or the top four or the top six. I mean, that's really where you need to go and be a part of the bigger conversation, position yourself for a playoff run. So I'm interested here, just as we gauge it, ESPN.com out with what they deemed all of the Power Four conference schools. They went down and said, here's what you lost, here's what you gained, here's what you added. And they have ranked teams post-spring heading into this season. And Nebraska comes in at number 6 in the Big Ten, just in front of USC.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about yesterday. I do quickly, before we dive into this conversation, want to bring you some breaking news. We have our first kick time for the Husker season announced.
Oh.
Nebraska, Cincinnati, 8 o'clock, ESPN.
ESPN. So they're going to take the rights since they have a dancing partner with the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be ESPN, 8 o'clock Arrowhead. We're going to have to do an extended pregame Average Joe Sports Show from the Arrowhead parking lot.
Absolutely. Then. It's so it goes on that Thursday night. Goes from Boise State against USF.
Okay.
Fantastic football game. I'm sure everyone will be counting down for that one. That leads you right into Nebraska, Cincinnati. Thursday night, 8 p.m. ESPN from Arrowhead.
So that's 8 p.m. Central.
Mm-hmm. Meaning, yes.
Okay.
9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m.
Yep.
Central.
All
100%. Right. That means Nebraska, the third Power 4 college football game of the year. You have Iowa State against Kansas State kicking it off in Dublin on Saturday. And then Boise State USF is that Thursday night, and then Nebraska Cincinnati. So
Nebraska's had a good run of being out there leading with their chin early on, because it was Minnesota for Rule to open the year on that Thursday night in 2023. You have the Walter's like, damn it.
Kobe says that's past Walter's bedtime.
It might be. It might be worth staying up to watch, though. I love that. I love that it's going to be 8:00. It's going to be Arrowhead. It's going to be nuts. We may get done with the Real Red Reaction show around 2 a.m.
That's fine.
Depending on how good or bad or ugly the game goes.
Well, you got a morning show the next day. I don't.
Elijah has aspirin to procure. I love it.
Elijah's delivering Schmidt Gatorades during his morning show.
I'll be.
Gatorades and coffee.
I've never ever said, son, get me some coffee. I've never done that to you. I would never do that to you.
Even like
you've
I've
generously brought coffee, but I don't, it's not a hazing thing where get me some coffee, do it now. So
it'd be fine as long as you said please.
No, I would never. No, I wouldn't do that. I do laugh a little bit because Junior had a Zoom interview today with a fraternity. And I'm like, oh, great. And as he was walking out the door to head to Lazari's, go say hi to Junior and get some sweet pizza, he was talking to Sterling, his, one of his dogs, and he was kind of bending down and rubbing Sterling's ears. He's like, yeah, Sterling, let's talk about hazing. No.
That has been cracked down upon at the University of Nebraska.
Sure.
Because I know some guys that were hazed in the university caught wind of it, and the people that hazed them.
I'm going to pay extra. I'm going to pay extra so he gets it good.
Go talk to those rush chairs and be like, hey, all right, I want to make sure this is a hazing frat still. My son needs it.
You don't know me, but you have a pledge. Yeah. And that pledge needs to be whipped into shape.
Literally
for years of coming home late and ignoring his mother. Here's a blank check. Have at it. Just no hospital visits.
Did you have any friends get any hazing done to them back in school? The stuff I heard was pretty tame compared to some of the stories I heard when I went down to Ole Miss.
I have heard some of the stories. I didn't rush. I was not Greek quality, apparently. I
wasn't very interested. To be honest
that's my own fault. But no, I went to a couple of social gatherings there before freshman year started, and I just said, I've got to set up, and I've met some of my best friends ever where I lived, and it was Abel, and we didn't really go to any of the fraternity parties, but there was enough places off campus to go that it worked out fine.
Yeah. It's not.
Or we just threw them.
Yeah, being in a frat is not the end all be all of college.
But Junior's excited about the networking aspects, and we'll see. If he gets the wrong roommate that's super neat and wants a picked up room, and it's an upperclassman, that's what I need for Junior to start doing, as being more responsible from the pickup phase of things.
The worst hazing,
Lord knows his folks haven't helped him in that. We're not exactly tip top with cleanliness.
Worst hazing story I heard from Nebraska was at one frat, all of the freshmen had to have a pack of cigarettes on them at all times, and if an upperclassman asked, you had to give them the pack. Okay. And then once you got down to that last cigarette in the pack, you had to eat said last cigarette, and then give a new pack of cigarettes. So that's the only bad. Is that really hazing?
If you're having to eat, a Winston or a Cool, yeah, I'd say it is.
If it's a Marlboro, it's fine.
No, I'm just picking out some brands that no, thank you. Yeah. No, thank you. So we'll get to our starting five shout outs. Had to detour there, but 8:00 kick, ESPN, Nebraska, Cincinnati, Arrowhead. I know you'll be there. We'll be there, and going to be just outstanding. Can't wait for college football to get here. NASCAR Eric, check it in, says, what's up, fellas? NASCAR Eric, thank you for saying hello. Justin is in, and get Pete Rose, says Justin, into the Hall of Fame. That should happen now that the ban's been lifted, although it's up to the riders. and we'll see if there's a protest or not. The backstory to this is important because you had Manfred meet with Trump in April. Trump pardoned Pete, and Pete didn't have any gambling or criminal charges on him, but it was a public pardon declaration by the president.
So he wasn't pardoned from anything, but he was.
Well, I mean, he did like 5 months for tax evasion.
Okay.
Pete did.
Who hasn't?
Well, me. I have not done 5 years for tax evasion, but long and short, you've had pressure put on, and now Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe have the opportunity to get in. 3-putt is here. Uncle Larry is in. Good to have you, Uncle Larry. DHing in the 4th spot. Like it, Uncle Larry. Bruce from Spearfish is here. Mike in from Cali. The other Dave is here. Arlo, thank you for checking in. Ryan is in. Grateful Red from Colorado says hello. Brad Fitzgerald in. Ronnie here. Walter, south of Philly, Iowa, has not had a wide receiver have more than 420 receiving yards in a season since 2018. I love the random stat. Iowa, though, has cranked out 8 or 9 wins pretty consistently. The tight ends done more than 420, haven't they? I would think at Iowa, possibly between Kittle and
even Lachey.
Lachey was there, and then you had
Hawkinson,
Fant. I mean, they've just kind of printed first rounders. QB1 Ace is here. Nice. James is here. Appreciate the shout out, James. Kobe is here. And also Matthew says, what's up? He's checking in. More of your comments, more of your thoughts throughout here on the Average Joe Sports Show YouTube channel. So when we look at Nebraska and what they've lost, they've gained, and they're coming into the season with, it's a good thing, and ESPN deems them 6th. Optimism level is what? Let's just start here for the season. Overall, scale of 1 to 10, 10 being playoffs, 8 being you're playing for something and you're relevant in November, 5 being they still get 7 and they go to some bowl game, but they underachieve or they don't hit their marks.
And 1 is Matt Rule's gone before the end of the season.
I don't think that's in play.
Well, that's you, but somebody out there might.
No, well,
So
I'm not telling people how to think or feel, but I don't think it's an issue.
I don't think so either, but I think that's a 1. Is people who are
0 to 1, like it's the pro. There's so much negativity and there's a disastrous situation down there, and that's not the case. So I'm going to put myself on optimism watch at level 7. Okay, I'm just below contention in November, but right now, as I sit here in May, I think they should be in contention in November. They should go into November far different than the previous 2 seasons. They should have a pretty good grasp of what they are after Cincinnati, after Michigan, after Minnesota. And what do you do from some of those mile markers? Whether you win or lose those, do you get better as the season goes on? Whether you stumble early or whether you win early, do you keep getting better?
So since we've been together, have either of us ever come into a season sub 5?
No, I don't think so. And I mean, we cover the program. I think we're pretty honest with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at the program and say, okay, here's best case scenario, here's worst case scenario. And there are a lot of instances, the worst case scenario delivered. I mean, it was mismanagement. It was a botched quarterback situation in 2019. You had COVID in 2020, 2021. You just were in your own head and you played everybody tooth and nail. 2022 was a disaster from the get-go. 23 was a tough start. Last season was it was a missed opportunity, I think, especially when they got to November. They were playing a little tight, didn't get it done.
Jeff Snitley says, wait until Monday, August 25th. Schmidt will be fully husked saying 9 or 10 wins like the rest of us. I come into this. You can look at it's so easy this time of year to look at the positives. I think there's a ton of positives, especially when you compare it to previous years. The two guys you bring in on the offensive line with Pritchett and Rocco. You look at the wide receivers, the additional talent you have offensively, the little taste of Dana Holgerson we got at the end of last year, plus the one game we got to see where Butler was running the show in the bowl game against Boston College. There's a lot of reason for optimism. I still have a few concerns. Depth along that defensive line is a concern to me. Can you make teams throw the ball, whether it be with putting up points or whether it be stopping the run? I have some concerns there. Generally speaking, if it's the same faces in that back end, they haven't been infallible. So some of those secondary pieces worry me a little bit. We'll see how that rotation shakes out. So I'd put it at a 6.5 optimism level. I'll want to wait and see a couple things early in the season before I'm willing to get to 9 or 10 wins like Jeff Snitley says. And the main place I look is defensive line. Can they step up and fill the shoes of Nash and Ty? And also let's not forget here, the elephant in the room, special teams. Can Eckler come in and get that turned around in just one off?
My biggest reason for optimism, why I'm at 7, is because of Dana Holgerson. I mean, I think it trickles all the way down to his side of the football that is going to get the best out of a talented quarterback, the best out of an offensive line, and just be good and be in big situations.
Spring isn't all chirping birds and pretty flowers. It's violent storms, deadly lightning, flash floods, and tornadoes. Oh, they don't put pictures of that on that free bank calendar you have hanging on your wall. Protect yourself from the evil plan of spring weather. Get the capital city's most accurate forecast from the 1011 Storm Center and the award-winning weather team at Lincoln's KFOR.
Trust is a foundation of any strong relationship. It's earned every day.
At 1011, it's the way we cover the community we call home.
Working hard to fact check, verify, and get the story right.
It means alerting you first to severe weather and preparing for what's ahead.
It's telling the stories that bring us together and make us proud to be Nebraskan.
Trust Cole Miller, Madison Pitch, Chief Meteorologist Ken Shemick, and Sports Director Kevin Suits. The most watched, the most trusted. That's 1011.
Total comfort now with Carrier Cool Cash rebates. Call Wilman Heating and Air Conditioning to learn how an efficient home comfort system by Carrier can let you create a healthy, more comfortable indoor environment. With up to $1,700 in Carrier Cool Cash rebates or special financing, explore what's possible with Carrier. Incentives will vary. Ask Wilman for details. Turn to the experts. Wellman Heating and Air Conditioning, your factory authorized dealer for Carrier products. Visit wellmanheating.com.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wine. Guys in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Hi, David Brooks here, president and founder of Retire Smart, inviting you to join me and Chip Maxwell every Saturday morning at 7 or Sunday mornings at 6 for the Retire Smart radio show. We'll provide you answers to your most pressing retirement questions and help you navigate ever uncertain financial times. Don't just retire, retire smart. That's Saturday mornings at 7 or Sunday mornings at 6.
Investment advisory services offered through Smart Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor.
It's not often a man wakes up and says, I feel the best I have in years. We hear this all the time at Limitless Mail, and it can happen to you when you go to Limitless Mail and get a blood test to see what your body is missing. That's how simple it is. Schedule a free consult with Limitless Mail. Discuss your symptoms. Do the blood test. If your lab results say you're low in testosterone, we can fix
that. It's that time.
Hey, Mitch. Mitchie. We're looking for you, pal.
Mitch Sherman from The Athletic, talking Big Red.
Unleash the fury, Mitch.
Unleash the fury!
On the Average Joe Sports Show.
It's Mitch Sherman time here with the Average Joe Sports Show. You can find Mitch with the Locked On Nebraska podcast. Get that on YouTube. Awesome work Mitch does daily. Also, The Athletic, of course, coverage of Nebraska at Mitch Sherman on Twitter. 8 p.m. ESPN. Let's start there, Mitch. Nebraska, Cincinnati, and another showcase for Nebraska out of the gate.
Yeah, you kind of forget until you see that ESPN that this is a home game for Cincinnati. All the talk leading up to the season opener for Nebraska is how many fans can the Huskers get into Arrowhead Stadium? Is this going to be an advantage akin to playing a home game for the Huskers? And I think, you know, it's going to sound like Memorial Stadium based on the dynamics at Arrowhead. Nowhere gets louder. Won't quite be like a Chiefs home game, in that there'll be a few Cincinnati fans there, but Nebraska fans are gonna take that place over. I think that's clear. And Huskers get back on ESPN for the first time in a bit.
How many times do you think they play that Red Kingdom song while they're there?
Ooh, yeah. There's a KC connection, isn't there? There's endless possibilities for songs that could be played inside Arrowhead on August 28th. That one will probably get out there.
As a Broncos fan, every single time I hear that song at a Husker sporting event, my blood boils just a little bit. But that's
they're not playing it for you.
I've been traumatized. So,
Mitch, I'm interested to kind of get your thoughts. We were talking optimism meter for Nebraska, and I know you guys had with the Locked On pod, you and Connor were chatting, and with just the championship talk. What if you were to put a number on optimistic level, 7, 8, 9, really good breakthrough season for Nebraska as we are into the off season, 4, 5, 6, they should be okay, but wait and see. Below 4, there's disaster looming. Where would you think, if you were to gauge your audience, where do you think the level of optimism is at? Is it 7 or up, or 5 or below? How is the listenership / fan base feeling on your guys' end?
I think it's pretty high, and I think that's typical. We're getting into the summer. It's the middle of May, and generally the farther you get removed from a season, no matter how it ended, and it ended on a positive for Nebraska with the bowl appearance and the bowl victory, the more the optimism, the more it builds, and momentum builds. And Nebraska hasn't had negative events at all, really, in this off season. Right at the beginning, of course, you had the defensive coordinator change, and that was a little bit of a stomach punch, but Nebraska responded from that in a big way with the reshaping of the coaching staff, and Dana Holgorsen comes on board, and there's been momentum through the transfer portal, and good progress according to coaches and players in the spring. So it's really been on an upward build since the middle of December. And I think that the optimism meter indicates that. I'd probably put it among the fans at the ones that we hear from, 7, 8. People feel pretty good about where it's at. That's not all that unusual. Generally, that's where it is this time of year, unless you've had something to really bring things down. And that's not the kind of offseason that Nebraska's experienced so far.
Yeah, it's weird because the ones that are paying attention throughout the offseason, it feels like they're the 9 to 10 win folks. That's got to be the baseline this year. But there is also that contingent of Husker fans out there that have been hurt before, especially within the last decade. And they sit there and say, you know what? I'm going to wait and see what happens at Arrowhead. I'm going to see the first couple games of the season, maybe that Michigan game, and that's whenever I'll decide how optimistic I actually am for the year. I mean, those people are out there, but I don't think they're vocal right now.
Right. That's what I was going to. That's as you were phrasing that. Those are not the people who are speaking up, and I agree with you, because I hear from them sometimes more just in general conversation than related to an article I wrote or a podcast that we've done. It's the fans who are engaged in deeply through the offseason, I think feel a lot of optimism. And that makes sense because, look, the things that are being promoted about the program are optimistic right now. And again, you haven't had that. You haven't had a catastrophic injury or anything that could really derail the conversation about good things, good forecasts for this team. Sometimes you get really close and connected to the program here, and it needs to be remembered. It's hard to remember, like, hey, good things are happening at other programs too, and they're different places around the league and around the country are getting better and improving. And there are some, but there are fewer than what's probably real. Fewer places that have a perceived negative spin this time of year, or even in the all of the months of the off season. So, but yeah, Elijah, I mean, there's a certain contingent of Nebraska fans who I think just wait until it gets started, and they're withholding their positivity until they see it on the field. That's probably a growing number as the years tick on since Nebraska's won anything significant.
Mitch Sherman with us here on the Average Joe Sports Show. Mitch, Nebraska does not have Indiana or Illinois on the slate this year. That being said, Indiana, a playoff team a year ago. You've got a ton of starters back and a confident team. And like Nebraska, Illinois was able to retain not only some of their staff, but some of their key players. What do you believe about year 5 with Illinois? Because I look at where the Big Ten's at now and where they want to go with this perceived expansion of the playoff and the setup where you have your play-in opportunities. You need to be somewhere in that top 6. Do you think Illinois' got some staying power? Do you think Indiana has some staying power?
I think they both do because of the coaches at those programs. And Illinois, I think, has it this year because of Luke Altmaier. I mean, it's an interesting conversation about what direction we're headed in college football. If we're headed toward a place like the NFL, and there's a lot of things about college football that mirror the NFL. I tend to think that one place where there isn't as much of a direct reflection is in the importance of quarterback play. I mean, great quarterbacks in the NFL are hugely important, don't get me wrong, but you also have examples of teams that win Super Bowls without dominant quarterbacks, and they do it in other ways by just gutting it out because the game is somewhat different. I still think in college football, quarterback play is magnified, even though the game is becoming more like the NFL. And Illinois got that this year with Luke Altmaier. He's not Arch Manning with his name. He's not Cam Ward with the way that he plays, but we saw it in Lincoln last year. That guy just makes throws, and it wasn't just in the Nebraska game. That's for me a big part of the reason why there's a lot of hype around, not just like optimism, but like legitimate hype around Illinois as like a top 10 to 15 team heading into 2025. So I really think it's real with Illinois because of the personnel and because Brett Bielema. Although I will say that Illinois as a program tends to be a place where the successful seasons happen when they're not expected. Still, I think this is a year where I'm bullish on the Illini headed in. I've probably been convinced of that, but based on what more I've learned about them as the offseason's gone on. Indiana's had the season that it did last year. It made the playoff. It wasn't like Indiana went out and beat a bunch of great teams. Indiana was impressive in what it did, but when it played Ohio State, Notre Dame, I think the Hoosiers, you saw what they were. It was a very good team, but it wasn't the kind of team that it may have appeared to be, like around the middle of the season when the Hoosiers did what they did to Nebraska. And you can't take that away from them. They had some incredible performances, but and I think Indiana will be good, like a bowl caliber team. But if they go and catch lightning in a bottle again this season and were to make a run at the playoff, then my opinion of Kurt Cignetti it changes. It goes from someone who I think is a very good coach and who can take success at James Madison and translate it immediately in 1 year into the Big Ten, up to the level where I'm looking at him as one of the best coaches in the country.
Mitch Sherman with us here. And Mitch, you laid out one of the quarterbacks in the Big Ten just a second ago, but with Altmaier, you look at Raiola. I mean, Drew Allar's another name in the Big Ten that I think going to be a good quarterback. Maybe Nico at UCLA. For Nebraska to live up to expectations in 2025, what do they need from Raiola compared to the rest of the Big Ten?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some lists where he's viewed as maybe top 5 in the Big Ten, and Nebraska fans probably bristle at that because it's not a league that's just like brimming with returning stars. I mean, Ohio State's quarterback, if it's Julian Sand, he's going to be really good because of the pedigree that he's got as a QB and the receivers that he's throwing to. Jeremiah Smith is out there. He's going to make any quarterback who can throw the ball at all look like a star when they target him. And I imagine they're going to target him a lot in 2025. So, it's an 18-team league. You know there's going to be talent at Oregon. You talked about Nico. Penn State's got, a team that some people believe is the most complete team in the entire country. Michigan's got a great freshman in Bryce Underwood. We talked about Altmaier. Like, if you can get in the top 4 to 5 in the Big Ten, then I think that's what Nebraska needs out of Dylan Raiola in year 2 to be a team that takes a big jump. A big jump in year 3 under Matt Rule is increasing the win total and like getting it to a place where you're not worried in November about having a winning season, where you've attained a winning season by, around Halloween or shortly thereafter. And then you're just playing for postseason position. Maybe you're in the conversation for an at-large spot or something like that. At least you can get mentioned on a Tuesday night. That would be nice in November. And for that to happen, they've got to have Raiola play like a top 4 or 5 QB in the league.
Mitch Sherman with us from the Athletic Locked On Nebraska podcast. Check that out at Mitch Sherman on Twitter. Mitch, have a good time with some baseball this week, bud. We'll do it again. Thanks for the time.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
There he is, Mitch Sherman with us from the Athletic Locked On Nebraska. Open phone, still 5. Michael Bruntz on the way. Dr. Rob Zatechka next hour. Hey, it's Chris Schmidt. Find us with the Average Joe Sports Show. Talking Big Red and beyond. Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 on KFOR. And can stream KFORnow.com.
Save big money on your next staining project right now at Menards. Pittsburgh's Ultra Advanced Semi-Transparent Exterior Stain and Sealant in 1 can be applied to damp wood, allowing you to clean the surface and stain in 1 day. Save big on Ultra Advanced Exterior Stain and Sealant. And don't forget to check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Hey, it's Schmitty here, leaping into the summer and loving the sunshine. Also loving I don't have to huff and puff to haul the clubs out or push the mower around. Why? Because I've gone through a complete health transformation with the help of Lincoln Weight Loss. Not so long ago, I struggled with stubborn extra weight. It bogged me down, made simple tasks and activities difficult and less enjoyable. After getting on board with the Lincoln Weight Loss program and having my metabolism completely reset, I have so much more energy. I feel lighter and healthier. Take the first step and check out Lincoln Weight Loss and get your free body composition analysis. From there, you can look forward to very quick results, shedding unwanted weight. Then you can get back to enjoying an extra 9, maybe a long bike ride, or tossing the ball around in the backyard. With Lincoln Weight Loss, there's no injections, no prepackaged meals, no calorie counting. Just a framework you can follow. Schedule your free consultation today at LincolnWeightLoss.com or call them up, 402-520-8170.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at EnduranceWarranty.com.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would a $4,000 repair bill leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust. Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans for any budget. Protection on the drivetrain, electrical, transmission, AC, and more. Plus 24/7 roadside assistance and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic of your choice. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits. A $2,000 value, free.
Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-298-2007. That's 800-298-2007. 800-298-2007.
KFOR is now available in high-definition stereo.
This is the good stuff.
Listen in your HD radio-equipped vehicle at FM 106.3 HD3. We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Take two.
I'll take the mercy. Tuesday continues here on the Average Joe Sports Show. I was ready to start blabbing. I didn't have my earbuds in, and Elijah went Billy Madison on me. It's all right. Find us on Twitter. Give us a follow at Herbalescence for Elijah, at Schmidt_radio for me. And always can watch the show on Twitter with AJ Sports Radio, YouTube, where you can like and subscribe 7 days a week for the Average Joe Sports Show. Plenty more of your comments coming in here. So good chat with Mitch Sherman. Catch that Spotify, iTunes as well, for the rewind. But we're talking level of optimism for Nebraska football. What number are you at out of a scale of 1 to 10? You've got the Arrowhead announcement that came down from ESPN, 8 p.m. kick down in Kansas City. You'll maybe call in sick or just leave work early and zip on down 29. Come see us in the parking lot. Maybe grab some barbecue. Get a cold one, and then gear up for Arrowhead. Last time Nebraska played in Arrowhead was what year, Elijah? Do you remember? Do you know?
That would have been Nebraska-Oklahoma Big 12 championship.
Good answer. How about a regular season?
Oh,
1998.
98, yes, of course. How could I forget?
1998 against Oklahoma State. Mike Rucker, Mike Brown, goal line stand. They survived.
I was in the womb.
I'm okay. So you were listening. you just weren't outwardly present.
Maybe that explains my future career. Some babies in the womb listen to Bach, some listen to Beethoven. I was listening to Husker football games.
You were listening to Joe Walker put on his Superman cape on a punt return and make it happen. That game had Monte Cristo, Eric Crouch, Bobby Newcomb, all three. And you had, is Bob Ryan kind of the crazy brother of Rex Ryan?
Rob Ryan.
Yeah, Rob Ryan with the Raiders.
Yep.
He was the defensive coordinator that night for Oklahoma State. And the Cowboys, about called them the Bears. The Cowboys, Okie State ran a bear defense. Nebraska had no answer running the ball. Tough night of offense. And it was the defense that came alive and made it happen. QB1A says, my confidence number is at 8.5. Mike says, I'm at an 8. I think it will be a good year. Justin is asking the important questions. Is there an Average Joe party bus? That would be wonderful. I know our friends with the Boulder Peace Treaty, the Snitley boys, we may need to bring a power generator, but I can't wait to do a show from their tailgate spot and a post game.
Are they pouring drinks?
I don't know. There's coolers to be had. Well, I'm not worried about the beer for everybody else. I mean, there'll be beers to be had in the parking lot.
The only way the taps will get shut off this time is if we drink them out of beer.
That's right. You have Cliff checking in. Cliff, good to have you back, brother, from Florida. QB1A says, if Nebraska beats Michigan, my confidence level goes up to 9.5. Walter, thank you for the correction. Rob Ryan is currently an assistant at USC, but yeah, he was wearing the headset. So yeah, I think it's pretty good. And good on you, Cliff, for being cancer-free. Love hearing that, dude. That's awesome. Dr. Rob Zatechka coming up here in less than an hour. Get his thoughts with where he is at post-spring. Michael Bruntz with us here in about 15 minutes. But my main reason of optimism right now, if I'm a Nebraska fan, is what? And for me, as I look at this, it is going to be Dana Holgorsen. It's going to be Dana. It's going to be Dana's effect and command and demand on the offensive line. It's going to be his work, him and Coach Shorts with the receiving crew. It's going to be just Dana being a head coach that will bark and coach and teach the position groups. He oversees the offense. He's getting paid a lot of money to do it, and he isn't going to jack around with the subpar. He's going to demand they play well, and he's going to coach the quarterback hard, and he's going to get the other quarterbacks ready. So it's obvious to buy stock in a guy like Dana Holgorsen with his background and pedigree, but it was a necessary move, and it's not a new thing you're hoping works for the first time. They've got some mileage, all right? Mm-hmm. You had a little bit of a rental period. Now you decided to buy. Nebraska did that on offense. He'll make the entire offense and its personnel better. And I believe this. I believe he can evaluate talent. I believe he can get that talent to perform at a high level. And above all, he will put a plan together that will get the most out of a talent against a defense. All those numbers help get me to 7.5 or 8.
What's your level of confidence with the special teams with Eckler?
They're going to be, I don't know if they're going to be in a spot to go win you a ball game early on. They need to be in a spot by November to win you a ball game. They can't lose you a ball game in Arrowhead game 1 and you kind of go, what could have been? And they need to be on point for sure by Michigan. So they're going to be anonymous. And what I mean by that is they're not going to rear its ugly head. They're just going to go about their business and do their job. And then if they need to star, maybe by the end of the season, like your makeable kicks need to be made, your punts need to be downed, your kicking game and your coverage needs to be rock star solid. All that stuff, it's taken for granted, and most other programs haven't had issues with it. It's killed Nebraska. See it about every game against Wisconsin or Iowa.
It's killed Nebraska. The hope would be that with an improved offense and improved special teams, you're not playing in as many close games. But can confidence in your offensive coordinator and confidence in your special teams be enough to get you over the hump in the close games with all the mental scar tissue that you face there?
I don't know that.
That's a big unknown for the year.
I understand that. I understand that completely. But I also, you've got different leaders now, right? You've got a guy and I don't know if Pritchett's a leader, but he's going to be asked to be one of the dudes you look towards on the O-line. I don't think a guy like Rocco is going to let you blow your nose because you're whimpering, worried about a 3-point ball game in the fourth quarter. I think you've got different mentalities that have come in on the offensive side of the ball that they're not going to worry about it. They've been in the situation and they think they'll come out on top. And if they don't, they'll come out on top the next time. So plus your head coaches and position coaches, that's going to be pretty key. Don't let that sadness linger.
Here lies Doug, the dragonfly. He loved leaves, fresh ones, crispy ones. But last Tuesday, Doug met a different kind of leaf, a Nissan Leaf. He didn't see it coming, probably because it was electric. His memory remains stuck to your windshield between the wiper arc and the passenger side vent. For $25 a month, you can lay Doug to rest, along with all other leaf-loving bugs, with a Jet Splash monthly membership. Rest easy, Doug. You flew toward what you loved, and it hit you at 42 miles an hour. Visit jetsplash.com.
Back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
I love shoes. You find them in the store, you know, they like call you, but they hurt. The best ones hurt the worst. And you're walking around going, I don't want anyone to know that I'm not happy. Stuck in the arch supports, and I felt so much better. I'm pain-free. I'd say Good Feet help with all of my great shoes. They turned out to be something that actually works for me. Now with Good Feet, I don't have to choose between looking good and feeling good. My name is Ava, and that's my Good Feet story.
Bring in your favorite shoes to the Good Feet store, and we'll personally fit you to ensure your comfort. Visit the store at 27th and Pine Lake Road across from South Point Mall or at goodfeet.com.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
The Good Feet system fits in all your shoes. And ladies, you can now be comfortable in your favorite high heels. The Good Feet store.
Is it time to replace your home comfort system? Call Bryant and save money in every way. Bryant provides you with solutions that save. Save big immediately with attractive rebates, and save every day with lower operating costs. Most important though, the systems are selected to fit you. The right system, priced right, properly installed. That's the way Bryant works for you. How much can you save? Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing for a free estimate. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Find what you love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Walk right through the door. It's all here to explore. With guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Drink responsibly, B21.
The KFOR Sportscasters Club is recognizing Lincoln area high school coaches and contributors for the 2024-25 school year. All were honored through a virtual presentation. Congratulations to our Vince Aldridge Sports Person of the Year, LPS District Associate Athletic Director Adam Bonesteel. The Ralph Beechner Coaches of the Year are Gabby Barata of Lincoln East Swimming and Thomas Nettleton of Southwest Girls.
We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
One final time this hour on the Average Joe Sports Show. Hope you're doing all right. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel. And, okay, so QB1 Ace is asking if we can make a stop in Arkansas with the Average Joe party bus. Last party bus he was on, I was on a cruise and I couldn't find the ship, which was right in front of me. That sounds like one hell of a good party bus. You know, Mike says Eck will be dialed in. That's good. The other Brian checks in. We call that brilliant on the basics in the Navy these days. Nail the basics. You'll be amazed at how much of a difference it makes. You're right on, other Brian, with special teams. Walser makes it known that it's Arkansas, not Arkansas. So, yeah. We could probably... Could we borrow one of the non-marked station vehicles out in the lot?
I was wondering if we could hit
it's a little Mercedes Sprinter van.
I was wondering if we could hit up our good friend Jeff Bryden and get a bus.
Like a school bus. They won't miss this.
Do us a favor, Jeff.
Yeah, you're driving too.
There's a 50-50 chance he's out there listening, so
yeah. Bryden, can you commandeer us an LPS school bus? Wow. Now, I have seen the old Husker ambulances around from time to time. The last party bus I went on, I was interning for the Classic Rock station in Nebraska, 92.9 The Eagle. And I was able to dirty my way on with the morning show hosts, and we took a charter bus down to Nebraska, Oklahoma, 1V2 in the year 2000. Yeah.
How many of those vehicles are we confident can make it to Kansas City?
Out in the lot, issues? I know there's one, and it ain't ours. Oh, y'all better hire a U.S. Marshal on the trip. Okay, that works out well.
I'm looking forward to this KC trip. It should be fun.
I think so. I have no earthly idea what it would cost to charter a bus and load it up with fans, because we're staying down there. We're probably heading there Wednesday night. Wednesday night, Thursday. Do we come back Friday?
I think we
stay for baseball.
I think we have that hotel room through Friday night. I'm not sure if we're going to take that. I think that's what we booked, right? Because the suit.
Yeah.
The suit wants to go to that Detroit Tigers Royals series that weekend.
Yeah, good. Awesome. Yeah, he can do that, and away we go.
What are we doing in Kansas City on a Friday night?
I don't know. We might have to.
Getting up to no good.
Well, I go see the Royals.
Okay.
Went last October for the playoffs for the Yanks.
We go to Worlds of Fun.
I hate that place. No.
You want to go ride roller coasters with
No,
me?
I hate roller coasters.
Take some really cute photos, like some host co-host photos up on the roller coasters.
That's quite all right.
We'll spend $50 on those ones to take at the end of the ride.
Can I get a ride from the hotel Thursday on the party bus? We got all people RSVPing. We could make this a cottage industry.
It's a business. We're gonna go buy a bus this summer and make our money back at the Kansas City trip.
We'll buy the bus, and then we'll save our money. We'll go to the boats, be able to buy the wheels. I mean, just do it that way. We'll talk to Michael Bruntz. He's logistically inclined. Husker 24/7 Sports with us to kick off hour 2. Rob Zatechka next hour as well.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
How far can you walk before you want to sit down because of foot, ankle, knee, or low back pain?
I really just wanted to avoid staying on my feet for very long at all.
Do you hate going to work in the morning because you already know you're going to hurt?
If you're just in pain, you're hurting, you tend to get a little distracted from what you're working on.
Come to the Good Feet store today and try it before you buy it.
I hobbled into the Good Feet store. It's been one of the best decisions I ever made. It was an investment in life.
Comfort, energy, performance, and pain relief at the Good Feet store. Visit the store at 27th and Pine Lake Road across from South Point Mall or at goodfeet.com.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
We've helped thousands of people live a better life. You deserve comfort in your life. Come into the Good Feet store for a free test walk today.
The sun's out, grill's out. Cook your favorite meats and veggies just the way you like them on a new Phoenix grill. Roast, steam, or smoke all in one appliance. This month, take 25% off all Phoenix grills at Hot Oil and Propane. Come shop the great deals on other grill brands as well, like 10% off Camp Chef grills and accessories. Some exclusions apply. Grillin' time is family time with a new grill from Hot Oil and Propane, where you get free propane with the purchase of any grill on West O Street, Lincoln.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Lincoln's local news, talk, sports, and weather station. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR, and KFRX HD3, Lincoln.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The House committee held a marking session today on the Republican budget resolution package. Key programs, including Medicaid, could be slashed.
Opponents say the House GOP package would grow the ranks of the uninsured by more than 13 million. Several protesters in wheelchairs tried to block access to one hearing focused on finding savings in the Medicaid program for the poor. Meanwhile, a handful of GOP moderates rejected the drafters' proposal to raise the cap on the state and local tax deduction from $10,000 to $30,000 for middle-income earners.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy. President Trump in Saudi Arabia, part of his three-nation Mideast tour, he delivered a speech at an investment forum and says he will lift sanctions on Syria after the fall of the Assad regime.
I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness.
President Trump says Saudi Arabia has also pledged a $600 billion investment in U.S. projects. The Trump administration cutting another $450 million in federal grants to Harvard University. It comes a day after the university pushed back against government allegations that the Ivy League school is a hotbed of liberalism and anti-Semitism. Harvard is already suing to halt the earlier funding freeze. Despite the tariff troubles, the consumer price index showing Americans paid about 2.3% more for just about everything than they were a year ago from April, slightly lower than what analysts expected.
I will be ordering.
Overall food prices fell last month by a fraction, but some grocery items saw a dramatic decline. The cost of a dozen eggs, for example, fell more than 10% as the effect of avian flu eased. Still, egg prices are almost 50% higher than in April of last year.
ABC's Jim Ryan. Americans still planning to travel, though, this Memorial Day holiday. AAA says 3% more people will drive this Memorial Day than last year, while under 2% more will fly. You're listening to ABC News.
It's me, your liver. You know, the organ that helps you recover every weekend after pizza, donuts, and all those drinks. When you have a headache, you take an aspirin. You have a stomach ache, you pop an acid. But where's the love for your best buddy, the liver? The least that you could do to help me stay healthy is take Active Liver from New Nordic. Active Liver tablets contain high-quality, all-natural ingredients like milk thistle, globe artichoke, and turmeric extracts, which are proven to keep me healthy and you feeling your best. Active Liver provides an easy daily detox and helps protect me all year long. So let me make you an offer you can't refuse. You take care of me with Active Liver, and I keep taking care of you. Capiche?
See for yourself why Active Liver is Scandinavia's #1 liver health supplement. You can find Active Liver at CVS and online at Amazon or directly from NewNordicUSA.com. Again, find it in stores at CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
New information in Monday's deadly crash. I'm Jeff Moats, KFOR News. The Lancaster County Sheriff's Office today released new details in the deadly crash investigation from Monday west of 162nd and O Street. Investigators say the driver of an eastbound car, 61-year-old Larry Heath, had drifted over and collided with a westbound SUV. Heath was later pronounced dead at a Lincoln hospital. The SUV driver, 32-year-old Yaniel Munoz Chimber of Lincoln, was treated and released at the scene for minor injuries. Just before 3 this morning, Lancaster County deputies were called out to a two-vehicle crash along Highway 79 near West Bluff Road. Deputies say a southbound car on Highway 79 crossed over the center line and into the northbound lane and struck a semi. The driver of the car was pronounced dead at the scene. No reports of any injuries. The latest on this is at KFORnow.com. Lincoln Police and Lancaster County Sheriff's Office held their Peace Officers Memorial Day observance today. LPD Chief Mashawn Morrow said that reflecting on the 7 LPD officers and 4 LSO deputies that died in the line of duty, committed to protecting and serving the community, is a way to honor their legacy.
We honor them by living the values, their values, that they upheld and that we will continue to uphold in their honor. The service, doing so with integrity, accountability, and compassion. The observance was held in front of the Hall of Justice near the Law Enforcement Memorial. A bill that would undercut the paid sick leave law voters passed last November is in the second round of discussion in the Nebraska legislature. The bill is LB 14 from Lincoln Senator Bo Ballard.
It fixes and adds definitional clarifications of independent contractors, owner-operators, and employees who work less than 80 hours do not fall under the initiative language. I think it's important to say the independent contractors because that includes the individual neighborhood kid that could mow your lawn, babysitters.
Voters last November adopted the paid sick leave ballot measure with nearly 75% of the vote. Tonight, clear, low of 62, sunny and breezy tomorrow, high of 92. I'm Jeff Moats, KFOR News.
Calling all dog lovers. Join us at the Capital Humane Society's annual Tails and Trails Pet Festival, Saturday, May 17th from 4 to 8 p.m. at Glacial Till in Palmyra. It's a fun-filled day for both dogs and families. Enjoy live music, dog-loving vendors, and delicious food, wine, and cider. Meet adorable adoptable dogs and help support lost and homeless pets in our community. Register now at capitalhumanesociety.org. Let's make a difference one paw at a time on May 17th at Tails and Trails, sponsored by KFOR.
Find what you love what you find. A total wine and more. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Walk right through the door. It's all here to explore. With guys in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind.
Live from Lincoln and broadcasting across the state of Nebraska, it's the Average Joe Sports Show. This is the place for Husker sports with the biggest names, the best interviews, and all the inside scoops.
I got a front row seat with a big tub of buttered popcorn and a greasy half-live chicken leg.
Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Hour 2 is here with the Average Joe Sports Show. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel, and we say hi. He is back. Michael Bruntz joins us, Husker 24/7 Sports. Follow him on Twitter at Michael Bruntz. And I said to Bruntsy that he was, super efficient logistically. That's a compliment. Bruntsy's been all over the world. He's a fantastic father, incredible writer, does an amazing job covering Nebraska athletics. Still roots for the A's, and he is loyal to a fault. So that's a compliment. And if anyone was going to be able to help us pull off a party bus rental, I would turn to Michael Bruntz to get down to Kansas City for that 8 o'clock Arrowhead kickoff. Bruntsy, have you rented a party bus before?
No, I'm touched that whenever you think party bus, you think of me, however, which I don't know. I would probably disappoint you with the party bus. What is like, let's say, an 18-passenger van driven by me? Does that do much for you?
Yes, I think it would be incredible. We have a number of listeners that want in. I think it'd be kind of a fun roadie. I mean, we would sardine everybody in there within legal limits, of course. And I think we've got a few parking spots already locked in for pregame. So
keep you on ace 18, not nearly enough.
18. There will be a fight in the parking lot to see who gets the board. But yeah, we could go in on that and huddle up the 24/7 crew, the Average Joes, and away we go to Arrowhead. We've got hotel Wednesday, Thursday, Friday handled.
Whoa, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You guys are making like a whole week of this, huh? Well, are you guys going to go ride the coasters at Worlds of Fun?
No, I just said this, and Schmidt said, I thought it'd be a great opportunity to get a new picture of us for the show whenever they're wrapping up at the roller coaster and they snap that picture of you for $60. I was like, that'd be a great show picture.
I absolutely despise Worlds of Fun. My folks, bless their heart, took us there every summer.
No surprise, Schmidt hates fun.
No, I hate roller coasters. I do love Oceans of Fun, though.
Okay, well it would still be August, so I'm assuming the wave pool would still be going, right?
Yes.
Black Hills Brennan chimes in to say he's got a CDL. He'll load him up.
Okay, so Black Hills Brennan can drive us.
Well, we all drink in the back. We have to have that partition. That's the benefit of a party bus. Partition.
Some of us got to be able to stand and do a show, but yeah, that would be important. But no, 8 o'clock kick, ESPN. Bruntsy, let's put this party together.
Yeah, I think I just go get sunbaked all day at Oceans of Fun, and then go watch Nebraska and Cincy. I like it.
Well, yeah, with recent law changes in Missouri, you can get baked all day down there.
Wow.
Oh, good to know. Fireworks and yeah, you get the whole shebang.
Fireworks and yeah.
So where were you? Were you going international here on vacation?
Yeah, I was in Norway for a week.
Country.
Yeah, so I was there for a week. Had some family over there. Saw the family and came back, and that was it.
How was it, dude?
Oh, good. It was good. We went over there for a family event, so that was kind of the big point of the weekend. Did a little hiking. Jumped in the ocean. It was 49 degrees when we jumped in, so everything went up as it should, I guess, at that temperature. And yeah, it was good. Lots to look at. Didn't get fully dark until after 11 p.m., which was great with a 6 and a 3-year-old. So we're still all recovering from that.
Bruntz, is your family open? My family events are at like the Golden Corral, and you're going to Norway for family events. So I might need to get adopted or something.
Yeah, well, there's just one branch of the family that's over there. So there's those of us here in the States that are probably of the Golden Corral variety, but that was the one trip over there.
Did you truly? I saw your post, and Adrian Martinez is on the wall at the airport in Norway.
Yeah, there's in the Bergen, Norway airport. There's you know how in every airport in the world has like a generic sports bar where you can watch something while you eat overpriced food and drink beer. I walked by and I was like that it was they had football and basketball, and I think there was some soccer and you know, probably some speed skating up there. But yeah, on the wall was a picture of Adrian Martinez scoring a touchdown against Colorado in 2019. So I don't know if they Googled, you know, generic American football picture or something like that. I don't know if it was the N on the side of the helmet they assumed stood for Norway or what, but there was Adrian Martinez in all his glory. I was standing there looking at it like I was looking at the Mona Lisa, and these, you know, tourists were looking at me like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? But yeah, Adrian was there, tweeted the picture, and yeah, I don't know why, but if you're ever rolling through Bergen, Norway, check out the sports bar in the international terminal, and you might see Adrian Martinez at the peak of the Scott Frost era.
There might just be more Husker fans in Norway than you'd think, Bruntz. I went to Norway in 2010. My grandparents flew out the whole family for their 50th anniversary. It was awesome. We're ancestors are from Norway. Long story short, it was 2010. Walk around in a Husker shirt and everyone's coming up to me. Ndamukong Suh. Everyone knew Ndamukong Suh, it felt like, in Norway. So maybe there's just more Husker fans over there than you think.
Maybe so. They've got Norwegians from Nebraska. We'll have to look for the sign at Memorial Stadium this year.
Jeez. South end zone. Bruntz, talk to me about level of optimism. What number would you put on it on a scale of 1 to 10 right now, as we're halfway through May? And before we know it, it'll be time for Vegas and media days. But it is the off season. And what's the feedback? What number would you assign to with the Nebraska fans you interact with? We're pretty solid 8.5 right here on the Average Joe Sports Show, with level of optimism for this upcoming season.
Yeah, you said 8.5?
Yeah, 8.5.
Wow.
Folks are feeling like Nebraska will be playing with some money, so to speak, come November.
Get those people on the trip to Ocean to Fun. No, I would say probably closer to a 7.
Okay.
I guess. I think there's probably a little bit of wait and see that's always there, and I think you know, when you've been burned enough times, you want to kind of see it before you believe it. But I mean, I think there's reasons for optimism. I mean, you've got one of the better young quarterbacks in college football returning. I think Nebraska addressed some needs offensively in the transfer portal that will help them. You know, certainly the changes that they've made at each of the coordinator spots, I think I feel relatively good about. So I think a 7's probably a good ballpark, with you know, potential to climb a little bit. I mean, I think the schedule is probably a bit more manageable this year. So I think I think the optimism is founded here. So I'll go strong 7. With you know, you get into August and you get the fall camp stuff going. and you get probably that one number bump, I would guess. So I'm allowing myself that extra little bump, I guess, that always seems to come around in the dog days of August.
What do you attribute the bump to? Is it special teams? Is it quarterback? Is it coordinator? Is it O-line? What's the reason for the bump?
Oh, in August?
Yeah.
No, I just think it's, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of saying this in jest, but I think there's always that time of year a little bit more as the season gets closer, a little bit more like, all right, the blood pump starts pumping a bit more. So I don't know. I do think this team will be better than last year. I mean, I definitely believe that. But I think there's some optimism, I think, with where things stand. I mean, I do think that Nebraska and Matt Rule in particular have done a good job of addressing the shortcomings of this team and this program. I mean, I even just the special teams changes, I think, are probably worth a win or two if they can get that turned around.
What is the F on getting that turned around in your eyes? I mean, Coach Eckler, we got the introductory press conference. Haven't heard from him since, really. Now he's bringing in a new kicker, a new punter who apparently they have their guy. We don't have a name yet, though. Like, what is your level of confidence in Eckler being able to turn around this special teams unit in only one offseason?
Well, I mean, part of it is, you're picking your specialists, and, I think, having a spring to kind of look and see what's there and the question marks that are around each guy. I mean, I think, that they've at least worked to address that. I mean, I think you have to lean on track record a little bit. I mean, he's been successful in one of the toughest conferences in the country during his time at Tennessee. They returned punts well there, which is something that Nebraska has not done with any kind of regularity for over a decade. I think the other part of it is too is, there's just there's an energy and a plan there, I think, that's a bit infectious. I mean, as much as, you want to really get into the details of things, at some point, it's just, can you inspire guys to understand the importance of special teams? Can you coach it to be executed well? And I think Mike Eckler's shown that, multiple stops he can do that. So, we'll see what the punter situation ends up looking like. We'll see, that they've got options at kicker. You've got Alvano, you got John Hole, you got the kid from Cal that they got, in the last couple of weeks here. So they're trying to get the competition there. So I think, just track record and also kind of some of the steps that they've made so far. I mean, I think that, you're kind of from where they're starting from, you can't help but overhaul it. But at the same time, I think they're also kind of going about it in a pretty smart way and in a way that, they know Eckler knows what he wants it to look like. And I think that's often the most important thing.
We were talking to Mitch last hour. I want to get your take. What do you believe about Illinois? I love what's been seen as the middle class of this new Big Ten, and you've had some risers. You saw Indiana, you saw Illinois really break through last year. You've got USC that is supposed to be way better than they are. Maybe they put it together. Then there's Minnesota, who just goes about their business and decides to knock off people or scare a lot of squads. So there's that. Nebraska, to be where they want to be, eventually needs to figure in that realm, that zip code, and then beat some of those teams. What's your belief with Illinois? Are they a hot commodity about to rise even higher and sustain, or do you think they can have a couple of nice years and then they'll rise and fall depending on the year? Do you feel that way about Indiana as well?
Yeah, I think with Illinois, I mean, at least for this season, they have the markers of a team that's going to be pretty steady and pretty successful. I mean, so much of I think, success in college football nowadays, and there's exceptions to that, but if you're able to basically maintain a starting quarterback, a good starting quarterback in multiple years, I think that's a tremendous help. Illinois has gotten older together as a group. They didn't have a lot of defections into the transfer portal. They return a ton of starters. And that's a good starting point. And, I think Brett Bielema has a very specific way that he wants to play football. And, I think he's finally been able to recruit to that and kind of done it kind of in a quiet way. I mean, they're not a flashy team. His teams at Wisconsin weren't, but, I think they've kind of got the markers of a team that you have to pay attention to, and a team that, plays with poise and that you would kind of expect of a veteran team. Even last year they did that. I mean, that game in Lincoln, they had every reason to lose that game, but they played steadily. Nebraska made a few mistakes, and that's how you walk out of there with a win. So I'm definitely, I'm willing to buy Illinois as a team to kind of potentially rise out of that middle class this year. 3 years from now, I don't know, but at least this season, they're a team that I think you have to pay attention to with the way that they're built and the way that they're going to play. Indiana, I'd kind of like to see it a little bit more. That felt a little lightning in a bottle to me, but if they can find the quarterback piece, and they got the Mendoza kid from Cal, who's well thought of, maybe they kind of keep it rolling there. But I mean, as far as the three teams you mentioned, Minnesota, Illinois, and Indiana, I mean, I think I would probably go more arrow up with Illinois than I would with the other two right now.
Bruntz will wind it down. We have Red Wine chiming in. Eventually, Nebraska will get an offense and special teams. It's important to keep the defense good. Red Wine also says, did I mention bread and butter around Bielema? So that's no good there. But well thought out by the Illini and what they are, and that could apply to Nebraska for sure. It's good to have you back in the States, my friend. Thank you for making time today.
No problem. Good talking to you guys, and we'll chat again next week.
All right, there he is, Michael Bruntz, Husker 24/7 Sports, at Michael Bruntz on Twitter. Of course, the Hidecast with the good folks at Husker 24/7. A jock doc that played in the NFL, one that was on the pipeline. It's Dr. Rob Zatechka next.
These are today's top headlines.
President Trump is hearing it from all sides about Qatar's $400 million jumbo jet gift. Meanwhile, the president's in Saudi Arabia trying to broker economic and peace deals. Our biggest economic indicator, the price of eggs, drops nearly 13% from last month.
Don't miss a thing. Stay connected for whatever's next.
On air and on demand, 24/7. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR.
My whole identity had been wrapped up in being a soldier. To have that so violently ripped from me when I was wounded, I was lost for a very long time. When Wounded Warrior Project came into my life, being around the other warriors, people that had similar experiences that I did, it was a game changer for me. Having King join the group, that was the beginning of a really good friendship. But it's a good time.
I first heard about Wounded Warrior Project through CQ. And at first I was kind of like, I don't know if I qualify. But having been a part of it, it's kind of taught me that it's not just the wounds that you can see, but it's those that you can't.
When you do something like a peer support group with Wounded Warrior Project and come together from different walks of life, man, the growth is incredible. If not for Wounded Warrior Project, I really don't think that I'd be here today.
See how we help warriors combat stigma at woundedwarriorproject.org/combat stigma.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wine. Guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow
Get down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Captid Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay.
We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Back into it. Time to check in with Dr. Rob Zatechka here on the Average Joe Sports Show. Catch his podcast. I'm sure you do. Doc Talk Sports. He and Travis Justice, part of the Pipeline National Champion. And it's been too long, Rob, since we've rock and rolled. How we doing?
Doing well. Yeah, we haven't chatted for a while.
You've been running the round. I've been getting ready for a graduation. And, I mean, it's we're through spring ball, the doldrums.
You guys got a high schooler?
Yeah, junior's he's a senior at Southwest.
Man.
So
our youngest graduates high school this weekend.
Okay.
Oh, so you're going to be full empty nester after this?
Oh, I'm still trying. Like I can't. I'm not sure that's quite hit yet.
I'm helping him pack.
Oh man!
I can't wait. No, I'm
okay. That's pretty funny.
I'm joking. His mother will go nuts, and I'll probably see even less of him. But it'll work out. So
he's joking for liability purposes,
right?
Sure.
He'll just be down the road. He's going to do undergrad at Nebraska. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things though that when you go through this process, it's. You know, you like your kids at all the stages. It's another stage in their life that you get to kind of learn about.
No, that's for sure. You know, the junior high phase, there was some, you know, I won't even say love, hate, but you know, he grew up and grew out of it. So it's been all right, but.
Okay. Well, that phase kind of sucks for everybody.
It does, doesn't it?
That's a rough one across the board.
Yeah. The old adolescent phase, no good, no bueno.
Some call it the wonder years. Some call it the blunder years.
Yeah. The blunder years for sure. So as we, tie this to football, what phase is Nebraska football in, Dr. Rob Zatechka?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I'm kind of, I'm really thinking they're sort of like, I'm trying to think of these guys as, I would look at them as sort of, I'm hoping they're kind of that like hot freshman on the rise coming into high school, where it's not going to be perfect, but they're going to do a little bit of damage on this year. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for.
All right. The old springboard from junior high to high school. I like it. And be the it part of the freshman class. I'm all right with it. How have you felt about the way things have been moving? There's always transition in today's college football, and Nebraska is going to have to reset their defense for sure up the middle with Ty and Nash gone, but also with Coach Butler taking over. And what's your feel as you look at this defensive side of the ball? I think Butler and crew, they're going to be aggressive. It's not completely a new thing because he and Snow were part of it last year.
Yeah, and I mean, kind of all indications they're essentially it sounds like, going to run sort of a version of that 3-3-5 look they've been running, which it's a super versatile defense, which is one of the reasons I think it's why people like it and why it gets used and why it gets used at the college level. You see teams at the NFL level running it. You can move people around. I mean, you kind of morph in and out of a three-man front, four-man front, back and forth. So you call it a 3-3-5. You can really kind of do anything with it. If you've got that big outside linebacker, that edge type, you can put that guy up on the line and you've got a 4-man front all of a sudden. So I kind of didn't like it initially, but I think if you've got the right personnel in place, basically you got to have at least 2 of those 3 linemen have to be kind of the big dudes that you can move inside and bring an edge guy up outside of them. I think you're going to be fine with it. And then I'm always a little worried when you see a coaching change like that. When you take a guy like Ty Robinson, for instance, his first year or 2 in Lincoln, I thought he really looked good. Mm-hmm. So I thought Tuioti was an outstanding D-line coach. I think he's one of the really, really good D-line coaches in the country. And I thought it showed because I thought Hutmacher looked pretty good his first year. So I thought Ty Robinson looked really, really good. And I'm sitting here going like, wow, this redshirt freshman out of Arizona, we freaking scored with this kid. He's everything he was cracked up to be. And then Tuioti leaves to go to Oregon. And I think he kind of saw some writing on the wall there with that previous coaching staff, just didn't see this as being a long-term viability. And he was right. And so he leaves, he goes to Oregon, churns out some NFL guys, takes a couple Nebraska guys up there, turns them into NFL guys. And I thought there was a noticeable drop-off in Robinson and Hutmacher's, as well as a handful of other guys. The productivity dropped. But if you wanted just a case study, watching Ty Robinson, his redshirt freshman year, I really thought he was something special. And then the next 2 years, it was just kind of like, yeah, whatever. And then new staff comes in, you get Terrence Knighton as the coach, and all of a sudden, Ty Robinson's back. Hutmacher's making big strides on the football field. And you can see the difference a coaching change makes. So, yeah, I'm a little bit nervous about the new guys to a degree that until you see the product on the field, you never know exactly what you're going to get. Yeah. And we saw that with the previous couple of defensive coaching staff changes where you could see a guy in a 4, 5, 6 year span look really good, then look pretty mediocre, and then all of a sudden look really good again when he gets a good coach in there.
Well, Dr. Rob, to your point about you don't really know what you're going to get till you see him on the field, we've been tossing around expectations for 2025 for the last couple of days. Classic off-season topic, but I feel like there's 2 sides of Husker fans right now, where one side is they made a bowl game last year. You look at the win total in Vegas, you look at the transfer portal additions, they're going to make a jump in 2025. The expectation's 9 wins. And you have the other side of Husker fans that are like, well, I've been hurt before in the last 10 years. I'm going to wait till what I see on the field at Arrowhead against Cincinnati, and then I'll define expectations once I see this team on the field. Where are you at whenever you discuss the expectations for Nebraska in 2025?
I mean, guarded optimism, but I think 9's a reasonable number. So, I mean, last year, I think I had them pegged at 7 wins last year. Now, I actually thought they'd win 7 in the regular season, but
7 sounds great, Dr. Rob.
they got 7. It just took them the bowl game to do it. So I had them pegged as winning 7 in the regular season, and I thought that was very realistic. And the reason I say that is because I thought they made strides. You looked at a lot of the losses the previous year, and it was these close losses. It was the little special teams miscues, the turnovers, things like that have kind of plagued Nebraska the last decade. But those are the things, any team that has a run of mediocrity, those are the things that plague you. That's what leads to mediocre football teams, are turnovers and penalties and special teams miscues. You clean that up, and all of a sudden you're going to be a pretty decent football team. I feel like they're moving in a good direction. I think you're going to see a change with a guy like Eckler running special teams. Everywhere he's been, they've had decent special teams. a good special teams coach, those guys are worth their coin. They really, really are. And so I think that cleans up some stuff. I think if they can kind of rein in the turnovers a little bit more, and then get a little bit more consistency out of the ground game on offense, I think they're going to be fine on the offensive side of the ball. I think they're going to be fine with special teams. I do think defense is a little bit of a question mark. Now, it's an experienced coaching staff. It's not like Phil Snow and Butler haven't been around the block a few times. It's not like Snow hasn't worked with Matt Rule extensively in their careers. They have. So I think they're going to be okay on defense. It just, that was a really good defensive coaching staff the last couple of years, and now it's really kind of a new one. So it's just, there's going to be some question marks there until you get a few games in. So it's guarded optimism. But, you know, I knew a lot of people last year were sitting there going 9 wins, 10 wins. And I'm just like, you know, I don't know. In this era of quick change with the portal, you can make some big jumps. I just didn't see it in Nebraska last year going in, and that's why I had them at 7 regular season wins. This year, I think 9. But a lot of it is because I do think they improve, and I think there's a number of spots in the portal where they made some big strides.
Yeah, they prioritized upgrading, and just listening to Data Holgerson talk about the O-line. This was before the bowl practice.
Another upgrade.
Yeah.
There's
absolutely.
Another upgrade right there is Holgerson. I really think he's a good offensive coach. Mm-hmm. At times he was an outstanding head coach. At times he's a kind of a mediocre head coach, but I think he's an outstanding offensive mind, and I thought that was a staff upgrade.
Well, think about the ability to put together an offense that can score some points and take some heat off of a defense. If you had an offense that had any punch to it or consistency the first 2 years, I mean, your defense was good enough to maybe give up 14 to 17 points a ball game.
Still win.
Yeah, and they couldn't. They had to keep you below 13 to win, and sometimes that didn't happen. So you get a little bit of offense that could cook. Dr. Rob Zatechka with us here on the Average Joe Sports Show, Doc Talk Sports. Of course, that's Dr. Rob's podcast. You can catch, or sometimes you do. We'll spend some more time with Dr. Rob as get his assessment as we're into the off season. Thoughts on spring, thoughts on the offensive line, the defense, the quarterback play, all that. Of course, Nebraska getting to kick off the first drop of the upcoming TV schedule, 8 o'clock for the Big Red in Arrowhead. We knew it was a night game. Now we know it's going to be on ESPN. So the Big 12 and the ESPN partnership coming through there. You'll take it for a showcase opportunity. Some more thoughts with Rob Zatechka, Husker Hall of Famer, part of the pipeline. And we'll do that next. Good to be with you on a Tuesday edition here of the Average Joe Sports Show.
Hi, this is Rich Ray, voice of the Lincoln Salt Dogs. Catch all the exciting action as Lincoln opens the series at Sioux Falls versus the Canaries. Coverage begins on Tuesday at 6:05 p.m.
FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR.
Today, we remember Gary, the grasshopper, a hopper, a leaper, a bug with dreams. Sadly, his final leap landed him on the hood of a silver Toyota Sienna. His memory remains etched in dust, guts, and regret. There's only one place to honor Gary, Jet Splash Car Wash. For just $25 a month, you can lay Gary to rest, along with every Gary still to come, so your car can shine again, and hope can hop eternal. Visit jetsplash.com and rest easy, Gary. You flew too close to the suburbs.
Let this sink in. 85% of veterans who died by suicide had low testosterone. The VA has confirmed hormone therapy can make a difference. It cuts suicide rates in half. Having low testosterone can take your sleep, your energy, your drive. It wears you down slowly until you don't feel like yourself anymore. At Limitless Male, we make it simple. No pressure, just answers. Get your levels checked. LimitlessMail.com.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
My whole identity had been wrapped up in being a soldier. To have that so violently ripped from me when I was wounded, I was lost for a very long time. When Wounded Warrior Project came into my life, being around the other warriors, people that had similar experiences that I did, it was a game changer for me. Having King join the group, that was the beginning of a really good friendship. But it's a good time.
I first heard about Wounded Warrior Project through CQ. And at first I was kind of like, I don't know if I qualify. But having been a part of it, it's kind of taught me that it's not just the wounds that you can see, but it's those that you can't.
When you do something like a peer support group with Wounded Warrior Project and come together from different walks of life, man, the growth is incredible. If not for Wounded Warrior Project, I really don't think that I'd be here today.
See how we help warriors combat stigma at woundedwarriorproject.org/combat stigma.
Midweek's here with KFOR, Schmidt, Carol, and Jeff.
Highlights from President Trump's visit with the Saudi Crown Prince.
We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Rob Zatechka is with us here on the Average Joe Sports Show at Doc Talk Sports, his podcast, Travis Justice. Sure to catch that and find and follow Dr. Rob on Twitter at Doc Talk Sports. Now, I got to ask you, back to the offensive line. Pritchett, you get a dude from Bama. You get Spindler from Notre Dame. Evans at center, Lutoski at left guard. That's the pencil and some pen for the offensive line here, Dr. Rob. What do you believe about right tackle with these three names? Teddy, Turner, and Gunner Gatula.
I'm putting Gunner in and I'm locking him in. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I thought he was, as a redshirt freshman last year, I thought that was the steadiest performance we'd seen at left tackle since you had Teddy prior to the injuries. Before those injuries, I thought Teddy was absolutely something special. Now, and I'll say this, if you've ever met the guy, absolutely amazing kid. He's a great kid, highly intelligent, just a good dude. And he was, in my opinion, surefire NFL guy. And then it's just been injury after injury, surgery after surgery. Now, I haven't really seen him play this fall, and everybody's talking about how the commentary is like he's looked really good in the spring. He's looked good in off-season workouts. And so if that's the case, awesome. It's just, are we going to see the Teddy we saw before those injuries? And I don't know if we are. That takes a bit out of a guy, and I don't know does he come back and he's the same player he was beforehand. I thought Corcoran I thought he was far better at guard than he was at tackle. But I thought he was a very inconsistent player. And then you look at Gunner, and they put Gunner in there at left tackle last year, and he really kind of locked that spot down. And I thought he was one of the most stable guys on the offensive line. He was very consistent. I think he's a good football player. I think he's a good offensive tackle. And I think at least right now he's the best option in the bunch. And I thought, quite frankly, I thought he was a little bit of an underappreciated performer last year. I thought he was underrated.
It's Dr. Rob Zatechka with us here. And as we discussed Gunner, I think he played really well last year too, Dr. Rob. The big question mark with him coming back from a shoulder surgery that he had just after the bowl game, how does that affect off-season work? Because he's a guy, as well as he played, he's going to need to take some strides. You're a doctor, and you don't have to dive directly into the injury itself, but how difficult do you think it's going to be for him to get that off-season work in while he rehabs that shoulder?
He'll get it in. And I mean, having spring ball's nice. I mean, it's not an end-all, be-all. It's nice to have spring ball in terms of getting those repetitions in. The thing is, I guess I look at him from a developmental standpoint, repetition standpoint. He was basically the starter most all of last year. And so you got a guy who's gotten those reps. He's gotten full-time starter reps for a season under his belt. So I don't think there's going to be a massive drop-off in terms of time missed. At this point, he's going to be fairly decent in terms of being back up and running. I don't know if he'd be like fully cleared from a competition standpoint, but by the time you get through the summer, he will be. And I don't have a whole lot of doubts about that from a getting that strength and development back up in that upper body after the shoulder surgery.
Dr. Rob, I got to ask you about Dylan Raiola and his offensive supporting cast and what that could look like. I look at what you guys had in Tommy, but I looked at what Tommy had around him. So it was a great compliment to one another when he came in as a freshman, and then even that sophomore jump when you guys went and played Florida State for the title in 93, and you had a lot of dudes back in this era where you can go mix and match via the portal. Nebraska did that on the line, in the receiver room, on the coaching staff. Do you feel confident about Dylan's jump because of what is around him and also just the natural progression a guy of that talent level is supposed to make?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's going to be okay. I don't see a big drop off from last year. If anything, I think they made some moves, especially in the wide receiver room. I think he's got a really solid wide receiver room. I think tight ends are going to be really, really solid as well, too. I think that's going to be a strength for the team. And running back, you keep hearing the coaches during the interviews keep talking like, hey, we got our guys. We got our two deep. We got some good, solid backups. They're decent. Are you looking at anybody in that running back room and going, hey, here's some NFL guys? I mean,
I think Emmett's about it.
And even then, it's not like you're looking at him and going, oh yeah, this guy's a top 3 round draft pick. I mean, maybe he has a amazing season. That'd be a pretty big jump, I think, for him. I think he's a very good running back. I think he is a good Power 5 starting running back. I don't know if he's a surefire NFL guy. And I say that because I make the comparison of, again, I know everybody talks bitches and moans about guys from the 90s talking about the 90s, but pretty much every season I played, we went 3 to 4 deep with the NFL guys.
Yeah.
I mean, you go Calvin Jones to Lawrence Phillips to Damon Benning and Clinton Childs. I mean, a couple years later, you got Amon Green, you got James Sims, you got Damon. It was NFL guy after NFL guy after NFL guy at that position. Boy, that was a heck of a running back room. Hard to do that in this day and age with transfers and guys wanting to get. Nobody wants to ride the pine when they can be starting somewhere else, and I'm not sure I blame them, but it was nice having guys stockpiled up like that. They've got a running backs room that has some very good, but maybe not all-conference caliber running backs, but I think they're okay there. Wide receiver room's great, tight end room's great. I think the offensive line I think it's upgraded. I think that part of the equation is pretty significant in terms of A, giving Raiola time, and B, I think you're going to see an uptick. You're going to see an improvement in the running game based just on the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that all of that takes pressure off of Raiola. I think if Raiola can go out and teams are sitting there going, okay, Nebraska can run the ball now, and it's not going to be just Raiola, we're going to be able to do some damage. And that frees Raiola up to do even more. But, yeah, I think there's been some definite upgrades. I think it's just when I look at the run game, I think the biggest upgrade in the run game has been on the offensive line. It's getting a Rocco Spindler from Notre Dame. It's getting a little more experience with the Lutoski, with an Evans. It's a year under the belt for Gunner. This is good stuff on the O-line. This might be the most excited I've been to see how the offensive line performs here. And I couldn't tell you how long, maybe 10 years. It's been a while since I've looked at Nebraska's offensive line and thought, yeah, I'm really excited to see how these guys do because I think it's going to be good.
Dr. Rob Zatechka with us here on the Average Joe Sports Show. We'll go a second overtime here with Dr. Rob and get you into a Tuesday night after this with the Average Joe Sports Show.
Birds are chirping, flowers are blooming, and the grill is open for family cookouts. Everyone loves cooking on the new Phoenix grills. Cook any way you want. Roast, grill, steam, or smoke. This month, get 25% off all Phoenix grills at Ott Oil and Propane. Shop all the great deals on other brands as well, like 10% off Camp Chef grills and accessories. Some exclusions apply. Family cookouts are better with a new grill from Ott Oil and Propane, where you get free propane with the purchase of any grill on West O Street, Lincoln.
Prescription products require completion of an online medication consultation with an independent healthcare provider through the LifeMD platform and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Individual results may vary. Additional restrictions apply at lifemd.com. Read all warnings before using GLP-1s. Side effects may include a risk of thyroid C-cell tumors. Do not use GLP-1s if you or your family have a history of thyroid cancer.
If you've struggled for years to lose weight and have given up hope, did you know you can now access GLP-1 prescription medications through LifeMD? LifeMD is now offering eligible patients online access to GLP-1s, the breakthrough prescription medication that can help you lose body fat and weight. Listen to what people are saying.
You just take your shot. It doesn't feel like you're on a diet. What I wasn't expecting it to do was to shut off the food noise. This was life-altering, and if I can do it, I feel like anybody can do it.
And here's the best part. Your insurance may cover 100% of the cost of your medication. So go to trylifemd.com to have your eligibility checked right now. Get started today at trylifemd.com. That's trylifemd.com.
Not another one.
26-year-old male, wasn't wearing a seatbelt.
How's the driver in the other vehicle?
Yeah, thankfully she's okay. She had her seatbelt on.
It's really sad. You know, these tragedies are entirely preventable.
It's said, click it or ticket. But for some, they should be so lucky. Besides getting a ticket or a fine, the consequences could take your life. So don't risk it. Click it or ticket. This message is brought to you by NHTSA.
If you've got trash, it's time to stop trash talking and clean up with MWC Can. MWC Can is your one-stop container shop for front load, rear load, side load, and self-dumping containers. Come to MWC Can in Lincoln off North 56th Street and Russell Drive to see their full line of steel and poly containers for any trash need. MWC Can. Let them help you take out the trash the right way. Visit MWC-can.com today.
Save big on everything for your next painting project when you shop at Menards. Pittsburgh's premier is an interior paint and primer in one that provides excellent all-around performance in an easy-to-clean, durable finish. Save big money on Pittsburgh's premier paint now at Menards. Plus, don't forget to check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com.
We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Dr. Rob Zatechka with us here on the Average Joe Sports Show at Doc Talk Sports, where you find him on Twitter. Dr. Rob, I'll end with this. I've always wondered with that championship team, if you could have picked, were you happy to get Miami in Miami, or would you have liked to take on Penn State for all the marbles?
At the time, kind of the consensus opinion that we had was the toughest draw was Miami and Miami.
Agreed.
Penn State, anywhere, whether we played them in the Orange Bowl or we somehow worked our way into the Orange Bowl or we did a neutral site, whatever. Miami, in Miami, toughest draw out there. it was sort of a bittersweet thing because you're sitting here going, that is tough. Miami is brutal. At least in that era, that's a tough card to draw. And that defense was freaking amazing. I mean, the offense was good. It wasn't a great Miami offense, but it was good. But there's 2 NFL Hall of Famers on that defense.
In the front 7.
It was. You had
Sapp and Ray Lewis.
In my head, had 4. Yeah, you had 4 first-round draft picks and 2 NFL Hall of Famers in that front 7, plus The Rock.
Don't forget Rohan Marley.
Yeah, you got Bob. You got Bob Marley's kid as one of the outside backers.
That's right.
Dude could fly. Anyway, yeah, the Penn State matchup would have been a true national title matchup. We had the tougher game.
Yeah,
it really was. I'm convinced of that. I mean, to this day, I still think that, and I still think about the fact that we're sitting there going, okay, I mean, that Penn State defense wasn't that good. I mean, they had one of their linebackers was solid. They had a couple of good DBs, but it's not like you're sitting there looking at that defense going, yeah, that the defense going to come in and wreck us. I mean, we would have just destroyed those guys. I always looked at 94 Penn State. Always reminds me a lot of 1983 Nebraska. It was the most amazing offense ever, and they had an okay defense.
Mm-hmm. Well, next time you bump into Coach Rule, I'll get his take on it.
I do want to ask him that. If we can ever get Coach Rule on the podcast, that's going to be my first question.
How bad would we have kicked the hell out of you?
Yeah. Oh, man. I remember that year, one of their the guy, I'm not going to say his name because I'm trying to be nice here, but the guy who is essentially considered their best defensive lineman signed as a free agent with the New York Giants.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went all through training camp with that guy. Man, I had zero problem blocking that.
He's trying to be diplomatic.
Which I say training camp. I mean, I'm not sure the guy actually made it. I'm not even sure he didn't get cut before mini camps ended. So, yeah, I had zero problem blocking that guy. And all I could think was just, man, we would have just marched up and down the field on those guys. It would have been 4 or 5 yards a pop, and Kijana never would have gotten the ball because we would have had the ball for 40 minutes that day.
Dr. Rob, I love it. We'll do this again. Appreciate you jumping on with us.
Absolutely.
Dr. Rob Zatechka and Doc Talk Sports. Elijah, good luck for your Nuggets tonight. Back at 4 tomorrow.